The Bidayuh have always lived in peace and harmony amongst their people. While all the villages did not have family ties, the spirit of brotherhood between members of the society has always been closely intertwined. The role of rituals and ceremonies of the Bidayuh tribes in Sarawak, Borneo, has been the way of life of the Bidayuh people for generations. These practices have helped shape the Bidayuh identity and key characteristics of the tribes. However, social change in Bidayuh society is fast and dynamic.
In the olden days, when I was young, from birth until I grow bigger, I was being taught to follow the adat or the tradition and culture strictly. Yeah, even before we wake up from sleep until we go back to bed in the night, there are so many parts that we need to strictly follow.
The adat that we still keep until today, that makes us what we are today, is the Bidayuh. Never forget their origins and their roots. That is the adat. The adat means respect on the elders, living as community in one village, in one belief. The adat that bind us today, and tradition is adat, which is related to the Bidayuh family. You see, that is why the Bidayuh people practice what we call pengirih culture. Pengirih culture is labor exchange culture to come up with proper farming, good teamwork or good farming activities. Pengirih culture, it is not only this pengirih culture not only applies to the paddy farming. It can be in any social activities, in any form of labor exchange, and which still exists until today. Because those days they cannot afford to pay with dollar and cent on whatever labor they need from the neighbors, from the villages. They cannot. So the only way is to exchange labor, and that is called pengirih culture. And this pengirih culture is a good culture, and it still exists until today. And the adat you can explore it in many ways. The pantang larang, the adat of marriage, the adat of burial, the adat of farming, the adat of having been brought to the judgment of the village, for breaking the norms of the village, for breaking the norms of the Bidayuh culture. These are the adat that we need to preserve, because if we lost the adat means we lost our identity. We lost our identity means we are not the people of the land. We are not the people of the land. So this is the adat we must strongly upheld and strongly preserve. And this is actually a kind of recognition for the Bidayuh people, whereby our identity and our culture and our quote-unquote the living evidence of the Bidayuh people is portrayed in the Baroque. We are proud to notice that more and more state buildings, more and more government-owned buildings is coming up to adapt the architecture of the Baroque. That is term used in the Bau dialect. Pangah, term used in the Peninsular Pendawan dialect. Balik Gambang, term used in Syrian dialect. Its role, functions, and identity is all the same. It's all to serve the Bidayuh people those days to come as one. For the Bidayuh people, it has been wrongly interpreted that Baruch is actually a gallery where they store heads in the older days, which is actually misconception of the Baruch.
Because there is no other place for you to keep. You want to keep it at your house, nobody want to live or sleep and looking at the skull above your head. The only place is the Baruch.
Basically, it is not actually the purpose of its existence. It is not. It is just by coincidence or through certain kind of agreement that it has to be put up there. And that is the only place that they can put it because they want to preserve, respect, restore, and at the same time make the head or the skull dignified. They cannot just expose it everywhere with no respect. Now, it is in the Baruch that meetings of minds of the people of the kampong come together as one to discuss what is the way forward for the kampong, to discuss the economic planning for the kampong, to discuss political environment or political ideologies of the kampong. And most importantly, the Baruch becomes a pride and an icon and identity of every village of the Bidayuh people.
This is what I believe. The Bidayuh always have, what do you call it, make everybody equal. When you have a square room, you will always have a leader on the other part of the wall. When your wall is round, everybody is equal.
The Bidayuh ritual ceremonies were a belief of animism and was an important role in guiding them to manage life, such as ways concerning the supernatural.
So, in those days, especially you want to look for good omen. When you're in the house, you're sitting in the house, and you start to sneeze, that's a bad omen, and you cannot move. You have to sit there, wait for at least few seconds, or maybe not seconds, minutes. Yeah, and some people maybe don't want to move. Say they want to go hunting. If they sneeze, they will not move. So they will not. Their belief is that they will not get anything. They will not find any animals. Yeah, that's one thing.
Bidayuh believe in omens brought by birds. Bidayuh believe in omens of the birds. That was the Bidayuh culture and the tradition those days. Anywhere you go, if your pathway or your journey is being intruded by birds, you will have to divert back. You have to come back. You cannot proceed. Because if you proceed, you will find yourself in danger. There will be some kind of enemy attack waiting for you. Impending enemy attacks ahead there. So you have to come back.
They believe strongly in the dreams that they have. These two must be ascertained first. You have good omen from the bird, you have good dreams, and then the actual ritual itself is the killing of the chicken, killing of the pigs, for the spirits that is believed to be friendly to our tribe, to give us that strength.
And then on their way hunting, and then if they hear the sound of birds, especially the bird named saku, yeah, saku. That is, if it is, there's a sound of this bird on the left, they said, that's bad omen, and you will not be able to find any animals. Yes, and if it is on the right, that's good omen. They proceed on. Yeah, and even if there is no sound, that's okay. You can still proceed on. Yeah, that's on the birds lah. Yeah, the same thing with like you want to go when you want to do farming. When you want to look for land for farming, on the birds side is the same thing. Yeah, on the left mean you cannot proceed, on the right mean good omen. So you look for the land for farming.
If the area is not suitable for us to do farming, then there is a sign. We can hear the birds, and this bird is called the kuteng beliak, kuteng geriak. Somebody in the Jagoy language, kuteng geriak. In Gumbang, we call it kuteng beliak.
The Bidayuh believe that the head contains the soul of a person whose power lingers on after death. It is known that Bidayuh only engage in warfare out of defense or retaliation. Bidayuh are a peaceful and gentle race, but there is one tribe that stands out.
Here we are now at the reserve where we do the head hunting rituals, and this is for the Singai version. So why do head hunting was done before? Before, people thought that a man must be a hero. I mean, to be hero, you must capture heads. So that's why they go head hunting those days. That's one of the reasons. But after getting the heads, they have to appease the spirit of the head to ask for blessing and for peace and prosperity for their kampong, for their villages. Then what is the ritual like? What do they do, the ritual? First of all, they go around this billion tree to ask for, seek for blessing and so on from the enemy skull. Then they go down there, there's a trunk protruding to the river where they will sit there to clean all the skull, and again praying for appeasing the spirit to bring them blessing, peace and prosperity, so that they can have better harvest, better hunting taking and so on, you know. So that was why they do it and how they do it. So there are three parts of it. And also they will make a boat, a mock boat, a head hunting mock boat, and they will float it from the upper part of the river and let it float down river, and the warrior would wait down there, and when the mock boat passed them, they will start spearing it to enact head hunting where you destroy the boat of the head hunters. So that is the three parts of ritual.
Culture is considered so important as it is a reflection of a community. This means that culture is an extremely vital determining factor in how a particular community responds, reacts, and grows, both individually and together. One of the main reasons why culture is so important is due to the stability it provides for so many people. It creates a sense of security and safety for individuals as it gives them a united and unified sense of belonging.
Yeah, Gawai plays a very important part in the Bidayuh culture. Actually, it's part and parcel of the culture, and you know, especially in the paddy planting season, all the season, all the the episode or the stages where paddy went through, from sowing, weeding, harvesting.
Gawai and farming, these are two interrelated things, because all the gawai is follow the steps, the process of the farming. Yeah, you start with gawai, ngawa, how they call it. When you start to look for the farm and then you all got the land of the farm already, you do make a small ritual. A bit more or less like gawai, but it's a small one.
A certain type of gawai must be organized. So on top of that, the biggest one is of course the Thanksgiving. After harvesting, the Thanksgiving gawai, they call gawai sawa, the annual gawai. That's the biggest one.
With us actually lah. Because the spirit is always there with us in those days. Anything we do we always have to think the spirit. That's why there's one gawai, One gawai, they call it gawai antu. This gawai antu is gawai for the spirit. Yeah. Where you have to feed the spirit. Yeah. And it's not done in the village. They have to build special gawai hut. They have to build a hut. They bring all sort of things from live pig, the kasam, the kasam, those wild bone meat that they preserve, the fish, all this lah, and the pangkang, all this lah, to be served to the spirit. Otherwise, if we don't please them or appease them, they will harm us. They always believe in this.
So they have to start with the gawai. And gawai is not actually just a celebration by itself. It has a lot of important meaning, message behind it. Without that, or without the process of the gawai, with the process of the rites of the journey, of the rituals that they are conducting, that which they call offering, there will be no peaceful atmosphere in the village. So basically, gawai is to give offering to the ancestors and to the spirits that they believe in.
That's why every stage of the paddy planting season, they organize many types of gawai. And this gawai, because some aspect of spiritual thing inclusive. No? So it comes with taboo, many taboo. After gawai, certain number of days might be observed. You might refrain from going to the farm and so on. So that the spirit, they have peace, they try to please, we feel happy, comfortable, and everybody is happy. The spirit were happy, the people were happy, and the gawai people are happy. That's the principle of it.
So strictly, pantang is part of our traditions to keep the community to be disciplined. They need to discipline themselves. From this pantang, they are being disciplined by the pantang itself. How many days you need to observe? It's up to the ketua gawai to fix. If those who langgar the pantang or they disobey the ritual, let's say 3 days before the ritual is supposed to be over, then somebody just bypass or just go to the area where you conduct the ritual. So the spirit who really protect the area might harm the persons here. Just like we observe what we call, you just be at your place. You are not allowed to move anywhere. This is called pali or pantang in Malay. We observe this strictly. You cannot just simply, after you conduct a ritual, that you just simply do anything you like. Yeah.
The Bidayuh from the old days believed in the existence of spirits that could harm them. Hence, they had no choice but to comply with rules or pantang to avoid angering these spirits, which would invoke curses upon them and the village. Are the Bidayuh people still confined to their own backyard mindset, indoctrinated by their cultural and traditional thinking?
We must admit that we are living in a modern world. Though as much as we want to keep our adat, we want to keep our tradition, but we must keep abreast also with time, with development and progress around us.
Adat or culture and tradition is two different things. Now, we try the Bidayuh culture, the old Bidayuh culture, which we considered obsolete, which we considered trying to bring some kind of limitation to our progress, that we will discard. I will give you one example. Those days, the Bidayuh culture or the Bidayuh belief is that anybody pass away in the village, they will have to stay in the village for at least few weeks. You see, they cannot get out of the village because, number one, they are so scared of the spirit of the dead body coming back, attacking them while they are in the jungle, while they are in the forest, while they are in the farm. It's a kind of respect to the family of the dead person. But can you imagine how are we going to progress if we were to stay in the longhouse for a couple of days or even weeks? And what about our progress? And this culture we have to discard.
Therefore, that one of the reasons why a lot of the practices or the adat that has been practiced in the past now is diminishing, or the interest among the younger generation is less, because one, they are more exposed, or they are exposed to this modern way of life. Then once they're exposed to, for example, Western style, they tend to be influenced by Western style, not knowing actually what is the content or the logic behind it. Number two, sometimes they're also not being well informed. You know, the younger generation are not well informed of why a certain type of costume or certain type of regalia, for example. So therefore, though this type of adat, I must agree that it is diminishing. As I said, we are living in a modern world where we have to adjust and adapt. There is no harm.